Hello class, welcome to another installment of using Robot C. Today we're going to use a bump switch to turn a program on, and then we're going to start the left and right motors as soon as we use that bump switch. Then we're going to use a line tracker tool to sense when the program goes dark, and that'll tell the program to stop the left and the right motors. So first off, go up to Motors and Sensor Setup to make sure we have everything set up correctly. In port 1, you should have the left motor, and that's a VEX 393 motor. In port 10, you should have the right motor, and that's also a VEX 393 motor. In our analog section, I do have a potentiometer set up. We don't need that for today's program. But in analog port 5, I set up a light sensor, and I'm going to call that a line follower tool. And then over to the digital side, I set up the bump switch to be touch. As you can see, I have the limit switch as well. I'm not going to use that during this program. Go ahead and click apply, then click OK, and double check to see if all that ended up here at the top for you. Alright, under the task main, we're going to go into natural language, and our first thing is we want to start the program by using the bump switch. Okay, so I'm going to go until bump, and I called that bump switch. And delay time, we're going to make that nice and small, just 1 millisecond. And then we're going to start both our motors. So on our movement, we're going to put start motor in there. We're going to put that in there twice. So I'm going to start the left motor. And let's just do a speed of 100. And we're also going to start the right motor. And I'm going to use the same speed. Alright. Next it says I want to use the line tracker tool to stop the left and the right motors. So under that, we're going to go until light. And I'm going to say what port here? Call that light sensor. And a threshold, I'm going to say about 1,000. That light sensor tool goes up to about 3,200. So when it gets a little bit darker, up to about 1,000, it's going to turn off our motors. So now we want to stop the two motors. So I'm going to drag the stop motor in here twice. I'm going to call this left motor. And I'm going to call this right motor. Alright, we should be good to go. Once we bump the switch, we're going to start both motors until it becomes a little bit darker, and we're going to stop both motors. So go ahead up and compile the program and see if it works. And I didn't have any errors, so I am now going to download it to my robot. And it says no communications, so I need to make sure my orange cord is plugged in. Try to download again here. Alright, notice my light sensor shows up here at the bottom. If you're not getting this tool here at the bottom, you need to make sure you go up to Robot, Debugger Windows, and see if Sensors is checked. Right now mine says it's at 3,000. So notice that when I'm going to cover it up with my finger, and notice how far it goes down. It goes down to about 790. I uncover and it goes back to 3,000. So notice it doesn't actually go quite down to 0. I'm looking at this number right down here. Alright. So when I start my program, I'm going to use the bump switch to start my program. Both motors are turning. I cover it up, it stops. All right. Let me show you one more thing. What if we want to keep that going in a loop? So I'm actually going to add a few spaces here. Let's add a loop to it. So if I type in while and then parenthesis above the 9, 1 is equal 1. So 1 is being compared to 1 again, and that is always true, so that's going to keep looping these as long as I put them in brackets here. So I'm going to do a starting squiggly bracket, and where I want it to stop, I'm going to do an ending squiggly bracket, so that should keep that looping back and forth. So when you're ready, go ahead and download that to the robot again. You should be able to click start up here, and you should be able to loop that by continuously using the bump switch and the line sensor there. All right, that's it for today. See you later.